Hey guys, it's Simeon. This is Pro Wrestling. Whoa, why is the intro playing twice? That was weird. Very weird. Hey guys, it's Simeon. This is Pro Wrestling Unlimited as we are here on the 28th of October, 2020 to talk about everything that went down tonight on both AEW Dynamite and NXT Halloween Havoc. I liked both shows tonight. I thought Halloween Havoc was a slightly better show than AEW Dynamite. You can fight me on that if you want. It's just my opinion. And everybody's entitled to their own opinion. With that, I want to say thank you for joining me here, twitch.tv/PWUnlimited. Remember, here on Twitch, you can support us in a couple of different ways, either by hitting that donation button down below or giving us some bit donations as well. You can also subscribe to the channel, either with a tiered subscription or with Amazon Prime. Because if you have Amazon Prime, not only can you watch Coming to America 2 this December on Amazon Prime, but you get a free Prime Gaming subscription. That Prime Gaming subscription allows you to subscribe to any one Twitch channel that you want to subscribe to throughout the month, and we would greatly appreciate it if that one subscription was to us here at Pro Wrestling Unlimited, because remember, everything we make off of Twitch for the foreseeable future will be going into a fund to help families displaced from the Creek Fire. My main goal with this is to help out families with children that may need help with Christmas. You know, Santa's gonna come. We want to make sure that Santa does actually show up, whether you're back at home or still living with relatives. As like I've stated before, I know one family that quote unquote lost their home altogether because of the fires, and a couple other families that are living with their relatives, I want to say 30, 45 minutes away, that may not even be home, back to their actual home in time for Christmas. So again, everything we do make on Twitch for the foreseeable future will be going back to help families in need that have been displaced from the Creek Fire here in Central California. But with that, let's talk about these two shows. Let's talk about AEW. Let's talk about NXT. And I liked NXT better, so I'm going to main event with that. Let's go AEW first. So AEW bookended their show with tournament matches in the Eliminator Tournament. The first match that we did get tonight was Hangman Page versus Wardlow. Page was on fire and was almost excellent tonight. You know what? I might just say excellent, because I don't know if Page could have been any better than he was tonight. So Page fired up early with a shotgun drop kick as the bell rang and the action spilled to the floor. Wardlow speared Page through the barricade and went on the offense. Page came back with an armbar over the ropes. Wardlow suplexed Page into the ring, and Wardlow then missed a swanton. It's always weird seeing Wardlow do that swanton bomb. Just like it's kind of weird, not as weird, but kind of weird seeing Kevin Owens do it too. Anyways, I digress. Page then clotheslined Wardlow to the floor and hit a moonsault off the post. Back inside the ring, Page hit a standing shooting star press, and Wardlow kicked out at 1. Wardlow then blocked a buckshot lariat and hit his own clothesline for a near fall. Wardlow hit the F10, but Page rolled to the floor before Wardlow can go for the pin. Page then hit the follow-away slam off the top rope and literally threw Wardlow into the other corner. Like, he literally threw Wardlow all the way across the ring. Page then hit 2 buckshot lariats, pinned Wardlow, and advanced to the finals at Full Gear. So Hangman Page will be in the finals of the Eliminator Tournament at Full Gear, with the winner earning a shot at the AEW World Champion in the future. The announcers then previewed the rest of the show. A Jon Moxley promo aired, and we learned, Moxley's not. Well, actually, we learned a little bit later Moxley wasn't there, but Moxley said that there was no room for an excuse-making Eddie Kingston in AEW. Give me 1 second to turn these notifications off. There we go. He said that AEW is for the best athletes who put in the work. He said he's made the AEW title the richest prize in all of sports, and Kingston to protect his neck. Basically said, hey, you're getting a paradigm shift, or whatever they call it in AEW. I think it's the paradigm shift. Yeah, because it's the paradigm shift in AEW, but in New Japan they call it the oh crap. Oh, it's on the tip of my tongue. Death Rider. So out would come Eddie Kingston, Butcher, the Blade, and the Bunny. They showed a highlight from Dark in an inset and explained basically why the Bunny had maxed out QT Marshall's credit cards. Basically, she used him and then came back to her husband and the family. So after a commercial break, Kingston cut a promo in the ring. He called Moxley a coward for not being there tonight. No reason was really given why Moxley wasn't there. He wasn't there live last week either. Kingston then reminded us that he was never eliminated from the Casino Battle Royale, but said that tonight he's taking on Matt Sydal, who tried to one-up him as the Joker. Sydal then came out for his match against Eddie Kingston. It was an alright match. They opened with some chain wrestling. Sydal hit a spin kick and a sliding drop kick in the corner. He tried another kick, but Kingston caught it and slammed him. Kingston was in control before a commercial break. After the break, Sydal made a comeback. Sydal hit a flying head scissors with Kingston seated on the top rope. Kingston then hit a kitchen sink to cut Sydal off. He then used Moxley's bulldog choke to submit Matt Sydal. So Eddie Kingston does pick up the victory here tonight. Next up, we had an interview segment. It was the Young Bucks and FTR being interviewed by Excalibur. The Young Bucks had teased earlier on social media that, well, they've got an announcement to be made tonight. Excalibur asked Matt about his ankle. He was diagnosed as a severe sprain and a contusion. Matt said he'll be fine by Full Gear. Dax said he's not afraid of internet backlash, and FTR will do what they have to win. Matt explained the heelish actions of the Bucks of late. He said sometimes good people do bad things. He said the Bucks have been missing an edge, and when FTR started screwing with and manipulating their friends, it sparked something in them. Excalibur then asked Nick to dive deeper on this. FTR got agitated and walked out of the interview. Nick then said, Matt proposed a stipulation to me, and I wasn't sure how I felt about it. Matt then added a stipulation to their match at Full Gear. Basically, they stated if they cannot defeat FTR for the tag titles, they will never challenge for the tag titles again. And I go, oh, so who's getting this stip next year? If you don't remember, last year at Full Gear, Cody challenged Chris Jericho for the AEW World Championship and said, if I don't beat Jericho, I will never challenge for the world title again. Cody lost. Cody can never be AEW World Champion. So now the Bucks are doing the same thing 1 year later at the same pay-per-view. If we can't beat FTR, well, we'll never challenge for the titles again. Very interesting that they're doing this because I doubt they're going to do it to where the challenger makes that step and loses twice. So that would lead me to believe that the Bucks win. But then at the same time, it's not even feasible. Well, I don't say feasible. It is feasible. That's not the right word. It's not even in the realm of the right time to take the titles off of FTR. It's just not at all the right time to take the titles off of them. But I just don't see them doing this stip 2 years in a row, and both times the challengers lose. Because as we saw with Cody, yeah, he could no longer challenge for the world title, but they did that knowing that a secondary title was coming and Cody TNT champion. I mean, unless the Bucks lose and they can never challenge for the titles again and then they're just six-man tag champs. Okay, but no. It's just I don't see the Bucks losing now. It's almost like Bucks can't lose because they've already done this stip once with the challenger losing. I highly, highly doubt they do it again with the challenger losing. So I thought this was all right. Nothing special really happened here. It was just four guys and Excalibur and Tully Blanchard talking. So next up, we have the Inner Circle Town Hall. Again, another segment that, to me, didn't really do much other than set up a match that we assumed was going to happen at Full Gear. The Inner Circle entered, as we saw Dasha Gonzalez and Tony Schiavone as the moderators. Jake Hager was absent, and the announcer said that he's training for his next MMA fight, which I think is tomorrow, to be completely honest. Hold on. I think he's fighting tomorrow for Bellator on the pre-show. Boom, boom, boom. Yes. Tomorrow on the pre-show, Jake Hager, well, the prelims as they call it. I've got the card right here. Jake Hager will be fighting some guy named Brandon Calton. Jake Hager and Calton are both 2-0. Jake Hager's got a 2-inch reach advantage on the guy, but he's got about 10 pounds on Hager. So we'll see how that goes. Jake Hager fighting tomorrow. But Hager was not there tonight. Bum, bum, bum. MJF then entered, and Luchasaurus asked the first question. Now remember, this is not a debate. This is a town hall. Debate means the moderator asks the question, and then each participant answers. This is random people come up and just ask questions to whoever they want. So Luchasaurus asked MJF how he would keep the earring. Wait, hold on. Oh, okay, I wrote that wrong. He asked MJF how he would keep the earning potential strong for the inner circle if he joined them. MJF showed a chart that demonstrated how the earnings would go up with him in the group. Reba and Britt Baker asked the next question. Reba fawned over Jericho. Baker asked Jericho about MJF's poor track record when it comes to friendships. Jericho said he's not a dipshit like Cody and won't let MJF into the true inner circle. If he tries to turn on them, well, they'll knock his teeth down his throat. MJF said that they all got into this business for money and championships, and together, he and the inner circle could make a lot of green and win a lot of gold. Eric Bischoff, that is, pronouns pal, would then ask a question. He asked MJF, what can you do for the inner circle? And what can the inner circle do for you? In phrasing the next part of his question, Bischoff said that he's worked with Jericho and that he's a prima donna. He said MJF has a lot of the same traits, and how would they get along without destroying the inner circle from the inside? Jericho told MJF, answer the question, and MJF didn't want to. MJF said, Jericho can't be serious. And what hasn't MJF done? He's like, what have I not done to help you? I mean, last week you had one of the best segments in all pro wrestling history because of me. Jericho said, well, you haven't beat me. And MJF kind of got a look on his face like, And then Jericho made the proposition. Jericho said, at Full Gear, you versus me. If you win, you can join the inner circle. So MJF didn't at first accept, and then Ortiz grabbed the mic and said, hey, you want to fight? How about next week? Me and Sammy Guevara versus you and Wardlow. And both of those matches were made official by the end of the night. So Jericho will be taking on MJF at Full Gear. And next week, we will see Ortiz and Sammy Guevara take on the team of MJF and Wardlow. Also, we never set up our poll. What did you guys think of Dynamite? Also, remember, if you want to be part of tonight's show, you can do so by texting in to 510-906-1341. What did you think of tonight's Dynamite? I liked it. It was all right. I didn't like it. All right. We'll run that poll, see what you guys think. We'll go from there. So next up, we got a Team Taz video. They said they're still waiting on the answer from Will Hobbs. And then Excalibur goes, and with that, we'll see how that plays out over the next couple of months. Okay. MJF, no. I hate when I use Google Docs for my notes, and it freezes quite often. I thought I scrolled down, and it didn't scroll down. That's why I said MJF. There we go. Orange Cassidy entered with Best Friends for the TNT title match before a commercial break. We then got the TNT title match. It was a lumberjack match with Cody defending against Orange Cassidy. So there was a story here that the babyface lumberjacks had their loyalties split, while the heels, well, They just were here to create chaos. And I wasn't a big fan of this match. I thought the lumberjack aspect really took me out of the match, to be 100% honest. Like, if I'm going to be honest, I thought this match being a lumberjack match took me out of it just slightly. Like, I wasn't a fan of the lumberjack aspect. So, Cody got into it with best friends on the floor early. Trent hit Cody with a right hand and allowed Cassidy to establish an early advantage. Cassidy hit a delayed vertical suplex. Cody cut Cassidy off and hit a Beal. He used a single crab in working Cassidy over during a break. After the commercial, Cody hit a superplex off the post onto a bunch of lumberjacks, as the lumberjacks, for the most part, just fought themselves. Cassidy then hit a stun dog millionaire and a tornado DDT for a near fall. He followed this up with a beach break and got another 2 count. Some of the lumberjacks then took the ref. John Silver jumped in and hit a pump kick on Cassidy. Cody didn't see the kick, but took advantage anyways. Cody then hit a crossroads and pinned Orange Cassidy to pick up the victory, so they did it again. They don't want to beat Orange Cassidy when it comes to the TNT title. Like, they beat him, but they don't want to beat him clean. Last time they did the, against Cody, they don't want to beat him clean. They let Mr. Brody beat his ass, but in the last match with Cody, they did the full time limit thing. Then this time, John Silver took him out before Cody took that advantage and won, blah, 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 blah. So I don't know what this is leading to other than Orange Cassidy is going to be facing John Silver on the buy-in for the pay-per-view, so cool. Darby Allin watched all of this from the upper deck because remember, he's now challenging Cody for the TNT title come Full Gear. Kip Sabian and Miro approached best friends backstage. They offered them presents and said that they were sorry for overreacting when best friends broke their arcade game. Penelope Ford entered dressed as Orange Cassidy for Halloween. All of this was a ruse, and Miro and Sabian attacked best friends. Miro said that he will never forgive best friends. Excuse me. So next up, Serena Deeb cut a promo. She said that the belt that she now has, the NWA World Women's Championship, represents legacy, tradition, and respect. She said that she changed the game by winning this belt, and she'll show you why you should respect her. And then Excalibur just starts going, you know, she won this title last night, and then she went immediately to LAX and flew to Jacksonville to defend it tonight. And I'm like, we're not dumb. We know the show ain't live. It doesn't say live in the corner. I know we're supposed to believe it is, especially since she won the title on a live show last night and then is defending it tonight. But all I'm going to say is the match itself wasn't that great. It was simple, and they just made sure that there was nothing really in the match for them to mess up. If you want to be frank. It was Serena Deeb defending against Layla Hirsch. Hirsch used a variety of holds early on to attack Deeb's arm, as they kept telling us, she's an amateur wrestler. She's an amateur wrestler. They went to commercial break in the middle of this match. After the break, Hirsch hit a pump knee and a German suplex. Hirsch missed a moonsault, and Deeb pounced right away and hit 2 neck breakers. Deeb then used a arm capture single leg crab, and Hirsch tapped out. Again, they did a lot of simple stuff that led to an okay match, but nothing special. In the back, Alex Marvez then asks Hikaru Shida about the number 1 contender to her title, Nyla Rose. Because just out of the blue, out of nowhere, oh hey, Nyla's challenging Shida for the title at Full Gear. It's not been built up on Dynamite. I know we've seen Shida a lot on Dark, and I know we've seen Nyla a lot on Dark. But it's like, this is going to be the pay-per-view match. You got to be building this on the actual main show, not the YouTube show. So she just said, Nyla, you want me? I want you at Full Gear. So there you go. That's how they announced and built up this match. Nyla Rose is the technical number 1 ranked contender. Next up, Shawn Spears came out to defeat VSK. If you've never seen VSK, he's actually, I believe, you can correct me if I'm wrong on this, he is the Create a Pro Wrestling Champion. which is the school that Brian Myers, the former Kurt Hawkins, runs. So really, the only move of this match was the C4 from Spears. It's his Death Valley driver, and then he pinned VSK. That was it. After the match, Spears pulled a guy in a bull. After the match, Spears pulled a guy in a bull costume out of the crowd and into the ring. The bull unmasked and revealed that he was Scorpio Sky. Sky hit the TKO on Spears to further their angle, and the two will battle next week. Speaking of next week, a couple of matches were announced. Of course, Shawn Spears versus Scorpio Sky, Miro versus Trent, Cody and the Gun Club against Colt Cabana, 10 and Silver, John Silver that is, and Chris Jericho will be in action. This is also when it was announced that John Silver versus Orange Cassidy has been announced for the Full Gear buy-in. So then we move to our main event. It's Kenny Omega versus Penta El Zero M in the second round of the Eliminator Tournament. Omega had his Dancing Broom Girls again, wearing Penta and Phoenix matches, and did the whole grand entrance yet again. And I thought this match was great. I'll say that right now. This match was great, but I've seen these two do better. I really have. But like I'm stating, if I'm trying to compare it to their previous matches, it's almost hard to do. So, like, saying this match is great but not better than some of their previous is still not knocking the match. So, just saying. So, early on in the match, Omega does a couple rolls around deals and then reveals he's wearing the Mega Championship that he won from Rey Fenix, who was standing at ringside, and this pissed off both Pentagon and Phoenix. Omega and Penta had a chop battle. Omega then began laying in heavier strikes. Pentagon fired back with a heavy palm strike to the chest and a chop. Penta hit a backstabber and a tope gongrio. Penta then sold his knee on landing the tope. Pentagon posted Omega's right arm at one point. Omega kicked Penta's left leg. They brawled into the crowd during a commercial break. After the break, Omega hit a Kataru Crusher. He followed this up with the Terminator Dive. Omega celebrated the dive too long and Penta recovered. Penta hit a kick and a crossbody off the post to the floor. At one point, Omega hit two Snapdragon suplexes. Penta blocked a third attempt. Omega hit a powerbomb and a V-trigger for a near fall. Pentagon avoided a one-winged angel, and Omega hit a leg lariat and a V-trigger. Omega then at one point blocked a pump-handle driver. Penta, though, hit an enziguri. Omega blocked a sling blade attempt with a V-trigger. Penta fought off another attempt at the one-winged angel and used a Fujiwara armbar to wrench back on Omega's right arm. They traded shots here for a little bit before Pentagon hit a super kick. Penta tried a springboard attack, but Omega hit a V-trigger. The final stretch of the match saw Omega connect with the one-winged angel and finally able to hit it and then pin Pentagon to move on to the finals of the tournament. So, as we all expected, the finals of this tournament are Omega versus Page. I think that match is going to be phenomenal. And now there are 3 matches on this pay-per-view that I think could contend for match of the night. It's going to be the main event, because that match is an I Quit match. Moxley and Kingston are going to go in there and prove why Eddie Kingston should be in this main event. Then the Bucks and FTR, that's going to be an amazing match. That match can, be match of the night. And so could Hangman and Omega, which I'm going to say right now, what match I think is going to be the best? Hangman and Omega. Since Saturday in the chat says, no, Tim Jericho's doing commentary next week, not in action. I didn't say Jericho was in action next week. I never once said that. I said that MJF and Wardlow will take on Ortiz and Sammy, and that MJF will take on Jericho at the pay-per-view. Unless I misspoke, I never said Jericho's in action next week. Also, our poll has finished. What did you guys think of tonight's AEW Dynamite? 67% of you said it was just all right. 33% of you said you liked it. And none of you said you didn't like it, so that's really good. But with that, that was AEW Dynamite. Like I said, I did like the show, but I didn't like it quite as much as NXT. So let's put up that poll now to see what you guys thought of NXT before we start talking about it. Also, excuse me, Also, remember, guys, if you want to be part of tonight's show, you can do so by texting in to 510-906-1341. Again, that number is 510-906-1341. Let's get this poll going really quick. Add a new poll. What did you think of Halloween Havoc? NXT Halloween Havoc, actually. I liked it. It was alright. I didn't like it. Alright, we'll run that poll and see what you guys thought of Halloween Havoc. So, Halloween Havoc opened up with a look at the impressive, I guess we'll say, set design. And Shotzi Blackheart was screaming on the stage. She made sparks fly with a metal grinder, and then a rock guitarist started shredding on the guitar. The guitar solo became the entrance for the North American champion Damian Priest, and I really liked how they transitioned that. He wore his, he was in the ring, which had orange ropes for the special occasion. An inflatable jack-o'-lantern was on the stage for Johnny Gargano's entrance. He sliced it open, and it began to deflate, basically saying he's not a fan of Halloween. So Blackheart said, "It's time to spin the wheel, make the deal." He spun the wheel, and it landed on Devil's Playground. The stipulation is essentially no DQ, falls count anywhere. It was a hardcore match. I thought this match was really fun and a really great opening contest between Johnny Gargano and Damian Priest. So Priest began to pummel Gargano as soon as this match started, like just right from the get-go. He whipped Gargano into the corner, and Priest followed with a Stinger Splash. And he also was wearing some like mechanics gloves deals, kind of like Sting. So it was kind of cool. Gargano eventually managed to cut Priest off, though, and Gargano sent him crashing into the ring steps outside. Gargano pulled out a kendo stick from underneath the ring, but at the same time, well, Priest had himself some sort of like pipe or baton. They faced off with the weapons right before we went to commercial break. The brawling continued through the break as we had picture-in-picture. Priest picked up the ring steps and hit Gargano with them. Gargano tried crawling up the ramp to escape, but Priest wrapped him up in the deflated jack-o'-lantern. So I like how Johnny, deflated the jack-o'-lantern during his entrance, but it actually came back into play later on in the match. I really enjoyed that. As the show returned from commercial, Gargano leapt off the stage into a senton on Priest. Gargano hit Priest with the kendo stick as the brawl moved back into the ring. Gargano went for a kick, and Priest clubbed his leg with the baton. Priest then gave Gargano a sit-out chokeslam for a near fall. Gargano then caught Priest with the kick, but Gargano sold his leg. He went for a tope, but Priest grabbed him by the throat. Gargano countered a chokeslam and sent Priest into the chain link fence around the ringside area. At one point, Gargano dumped trash on Priest, and then he put the trash can over Priest's head. Gargano followed by sandwiching Priest with a cart. The show then cut to commercial with Gargano in control. During the break, Gargano used a crowbar to apply the Gargano escape. Priest teased tapping, but, well, he didn't tap out. After the break, as the two were fighting all around the arena, Gargano climbed onto the stage where the big wheel was. Priest followed and connected as he flung a trash can at Gargano. Moments later, Gargano countered Priest to deliver a super kick. Gargano repeatedly hit Priest with the metal trash can. Priest came back with a kick and then kicked the trash can into Gargano's face, kind of like a Van Daminator. Then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, somebody in a Scream costume hits Priest from behind with a metal pipe. Gargano then hit Priest with a DDT on this little stage podium area. The person with the Scream mask then gave Gargano a tombstone, and he hit Priest with the tombstone so hard that the tombstone shattered. Priest went flying off of the stage. Gargano jumped off, went over, pinned Priest. Bada bing, bada boom. New NXT North American Champion Johnny Gargano is now the first time, or for the first time, someone is now a two-time, well, how do I phrase this? Gargano's the first two-time North American Champion. I made that way more difficult than it was. But eat. That's all, folks. We then see Vic Joseph and Wade Barrett at commentary. Vic Joseph is dressed as Waldo from Where's Waldo? And Barrett's like, who are you supposed to be? He's like, I'm Where's Waldo? Where's your costume? You challenged me to a costume contest. And he goes, oh, well, I'm my favorite WWE superstar, Bad News Barrett. And he said, I've got some bad news for you, Vic. You've lost the costume contest. So next up, Pete Dunne came out. No, spoiler. Pat McAfee came out with the new tag team champions. Pat McAfee cut another one of his just phenomenally great promos. I can listen to Pat McAfee go for 30 minutes. I felt like I did tonight, and I wasn't opposed of it. So, he came down to the ring, and he claimed that McAfee, first off, McAfee buried the fans and the dirt sheets in that regard. And started talking about Adam Cole. And he was saying that, I'm upset that I lost to Adam Cole. But I couldn't really come down here and take out Adam Cole and deal with him the way I really wanted to. So I needed a little help. He claimed that he was unable to come back and handle things. So he called up somebody, that he thought could get the job done. And he called Ridge Holland. He said, hey, buddy, how much would it cost for me to, hire you? And Ridge said, well, I don't want your money. I just need a car. So he said, what kind of car do you want? And he bought him a Mercedes. And that is why Ridge Holland attacked Adam Cole back at TakeOver. He said, well, that was the most expensive mistake I've ever made because, we then watched Ridge Holland bust his leg into 700 pieces like 3 days later. McAfee then said that he tried to recruit Birch and Lorcan, and he actually did. They turned him down at first, though, until they lost to the Undisputed Era. Then, they came back to him and made a deal to align with McAfee. This is when Kyle O'Reilly would interrupt and march down to the ring, seemingly on his own, before the music of Pete Dunne would hit. Pete Dunne would make his big surprise return to NXT and presumably come to help Kyle O'Reilly. Pete Dunne and Kyle O'Reilly jumped up on the apron, and Dunne, who was holding 2 steel chairs, handed one to Kyle. The two got into the ring, as well the tag champs and Pat McAfee feigned off. Then, it was Seth Rollins tacking the Shield all over again, because as Pat McAfee and Birch and Lorcan got out of the ring, Kyle O'Reilly got closer to that side of the ring, but Pete Dunne stayed in the middle of the ring, and when the two were not side by side anymore, Dunne would hit Kyle O'Reilly with the chair. And my first thought was, holy shit, they're paying off a 3-year-old storyline. Holy crap, they're tying this in to a fucking 3-year-old storyline when when Pete Dunne was screwed by the Undisputed Era. If you don't remember, in 2017, Pete Dunne was teaming with Roderick Strong, and they were feuding with the Undisputed Era, where in the end, Roddy turned on Pete Dunne and joined the Undisputed Era. Well, now, aligned with Pat McAfee, Oney Lorcan, and Danny Burch, Pete Dunne is going to get that actual revenge on the Undisputed Era now. Now, I know you can say, well, they did War Games, and he was on the team with who was it? I think Ricochet and... Hold on, let me double back really fast. Can't remember exactly who was on that other team. I know it was Undisputed Era. It was Undisputed Era versus... Yeah, I was right. Oh, no. Hold on. Pete Dunne wasn't in that first War Games match. I forgot about that, actually. I'm wrong. Yes, Justin says it was Dunne, Ricochet, and War Raiders, but that was the second War Games. Hold on. We're looking some stuff up. So, when Roderick Strong aligned with... Okay, so it was the second War Games. I'm completely wrong. Okay. We got this now. I was thinking this was 2017. This is 2018 that this all went down. So it was Pete Dunne, Ricochet, and the War Raiders against the Undisputed Era, Adam Cole, Bobby Fish, Kyle O'Reilly, Roderick Strong. So in 2017, he turned on Roderick Strong, turned on Pete Dunne. But then in 2018 is when we got the big War Games match, the Pete Dunne Ricochet War Raiders deal. So anyways, they're playing off a 3-year-old storyline where Pete Dunne, yes, he was in that War Games, but he's going to now finally get that revenge. I mean, you can say he did get revenge because he won that War Games match against Undisputed Era, but I think this is going to be even more bittersweet revenge, because if I'm predicting that this goes to War Games again. War Games was supposed to take place the night before Survivor Series, but it had been, quote-unquote, possibly moved. If we can get War Games in November or December, and it is Undisputed Era versus Pat McAfee, Oney Lorcan, Danny Burch, and Pete Dunne, I think that could be fun as hell. And you can beat the Undisputed Era and move them up to the main roster. Move them up to SmackDown, in my opinion, is where I think they should go. I think this can lead to another War Games match and possibly lead to finally riding Undisputed Era off of NXT and moving them to the main roster, maybe in January. But anyways, like I stated, Pete Dunne did attack Kyle O'Reilly with a chair, and the heels beat him down and stood over him. Oney Lorcan and Danny Burch gave him an assisted draping DDT onto a chair that Pat McAfee set up. And there you go. I don't know when the other members of Undisputed Era are going to be back or how long this plays out to, but we do know that there's no takeover in November, at least from the last I heard. And so maybe in December we get War Games. I think the issue is they're trying to secure a venue that they can run fans with in December. And so maybe that's when we get the announcement of War Games, when they get a venue that they can run with fans. Because War Games ain't going to fit in the Capitol Wrestling Center. No. But let's see. Give me 1 second. I have some interesting news here. Okay, nothing really. So, going forward, Cameron Grimes was upset and scared to get in a van that would take him to the haunted house of terror to take on Dexter Lumis. Grimes wanted to ride shotgun, but a zombie was sitting shotgun. That scared Grimes, and then all of a sudden Michael Hayes popped out of the van as Bradstreet USA played over the speakers. Grimes reluctantly got in the van as it sped away. Next up, we had a non-title match with the NXT Cruiserweight Champion Santos Escobar against Jake Atlas. This was a fun match. Nothing special, but these two guys worked really well together. The Cruiserweight Champion wore a phantom costume similar to what Rey Mysterio wore in his classic match against Eddie Guerrero at Halloween Havoc 97. Escobar also had half of his face painted like a ghost or a skeleton, kind of commemorating D. Della Mortes. I hope I said that right. Atlas was in trouble at the onset of this match, but he soon took over as we went to commercial. As he came back, he got some near falls on Escobar, and Atlas executed a handspring DDT. He went to cover Escobar, but Escobar's henchman put his feet on the ropes for the break. Atlas responded by doing a running flip dive onto Raul Mendoza and walking wild at ringside. Mendoza put on what seemingly looked like a loaded mask and gave Atlas a headbutt. After Atlas was rolled back into the ring, Escobar delivered his new finisher. Escobar then covered him and pinned him to pick up the victory. I mean, who didn't see that coming? Who didn't see Santos Escobar winning? So next up, we got Cameron Grimes versus Dexter Lumis in the Haunted House of Terror match. This was a B-level horror movie with no finish in this part because it was broken up into different parts. And hey, all I'm going to say is I love Jeremy Borash's on-location stuff. I love it. So the van from earlier arrived at a haunted house, and a frightened Grimes climbed out. Cameron Grimes played the scared heel so perfectly. Grimes tried to act tough at one point, but he kept getting scared. Lumis was seen lurking around as Grimes wandered around the house. Grimes approached a referee to ask what the rules of this match were, and the ref spooked him. Loomis then appeared out of nowhere. Grimes was able to escape his clutches and ran away. Loomis stalked Grimes like a horror movie villain. Grimes locked him in a bathroom, and he saw the silhouette of a naked woman taking a shower. Suddenly, Grimes felt very romantic. He took off his vest and went to get in the shower with the woman, but she was a zombie that jumped out at him, and he fled in fear. Grimes ran around saying he was done. I'm done. He wanted out of the house when Loomis grabbed him from behind. They brawled for a little bit before Grimes was able to escape. Grimes then grabbed a weapon from the kitchen, but he was overtaken by more zombies. He ran to the van, and he got in. Loomis was, though, in the van, which scared Grimes all to hell. He freaked out and ran away into the darkness, and it said, "To be continued." I thought these were fun. I thought this was really fun. Rhea Ripley took on Raquel Gonzalez here in a really good match for Raquel Gonzalez. I think this is her best match I've ever seen her in. I've seen better from Rhea Ripley, but I mean, she's worked with some great women that are at a higher level than Raquel Gonzalez, and I'm not knocking Raquel. So early on, they exchanged strikes and they exchanged slaps. There was a slugfest from the start until Gonzalez began to stomp Ripley. Gonzalez would not leave her feet at first, as Ripley would hit her with multiple clotheslines, and they mirrored each other several times. Ripley eventually hit Gonzalez with a drop kick and sent her out of the ring. Ripley followed with a wrecking ball drop kick and then a somersault senton off the apron. Gonzalez soon countered Ripley, and she powerbombed Ripley into a chain link fence. The show then cut to commercial break with Gonzalez in control. At one point, Ripley made some separation with a backdrop, and Ripley made a comeback as we came back from the break. Ripley with a drop kick for a near fall as she fired up. She applied an inverted cloverleaf submission, but then Ripley sold her back and worked it over. So for like the second half of this match, Rhea Ripley kept grabbing her back like she had an issue with her lower back. Gonzalez at one time tried a Tour of the Islands-like move, and Ripley kicked out at 2. They fought on the turnbuckle, and Gonzalez sent Ripley crashing to the mat with an avalanche overhead suplex. Got a 2 off of it. Ripley countered Gonzalez with the flying head scissors, and Ripley followed this up with the riptide. She covered Gonzalez and picked up the victory. So Rhea Ripley does defeat Raquel Gonzalez, and like I said, a really good match. Probably Raquel Gonzalez's best match thus far. Cameron Grimes was then seen just running down a road. And they said, "Oh, hey, it's Cameron Grimes. He looks close to the Capitol Wrestling Center. Maybe he's coming back." We then see Drake Maverick in the back. He was dressed as Hollywood Hulk Hogan. He was flexing, well, as much as he can flex, and kept calling Mackenzie Mitchell Mean Gene. And she goes, I'm not Mean Gene. He goes, "Let me tell you something, Mean Gene." She goes, "But I'm not." He goes, "It's Halloween. Just play along." He broke character to be like, "Come on, just play along." Took off his sunglasses, and we then saw somebody show up as the Giant, or Big Show from WCW, and then we saw the Yeti. And the two sandwiched Maverick to recreate the finish of the Halloween Havoc 95 match. Killian Dane would then emerge from behind a curtain as, well, the Shockmaster, and the Yeti and the Giant fled. Maverick then goes, "Hey, why didn't you trip and fall?" And Dane's like, "What do you mean trip and fall?" He's like the Shockmaster. When you make your entrance as the Shockmaster, you're supposed to fall down. I had that deal set up for you to trip over. He goes, "Oh yeah, I didn't want to fall. I didn't want to trip. I moved that." I'm like, okay. I get the joke here, but it really didn't hit for me. We then got the conclusion of the House of Terror match. So, Cameron Grimes finally made it back to the Capitol Wrestling Center. He got back into the arena, and he collapsed out of exhaustion. He fell into a makeshift graveyard, and Grimes soon realized, well, he was in a graveyard, and it freaked him out. A zombie woman crawled out of one of the graves, and Grimes freaked out even more. Another zombie crawled out, and Grimes fled to the ring. Loomis got into the ring and surprised Grimes. Loomis began to pummel him. Grimes was dropped. Whoa. My notes just like scrolled on their own. Talk about Halloween and my computer's haunted. Where was I? The ring then started to be surrounded and filled with smoke and fog. Grimes begged off as several zombies crawled around the ring. Loomis press slammed a zombie onto Grimes, and Loomis choked out Grimes. Loomis then left the ring as the zombies crawled all around Cameron Grimes. A graphic then read, "The End." Wasn't a big fan of the finish of this, but I liked the middle part. I thought that was very fun. In the back, Tommaso Ciampa cut a promo. He said he does not recognize NXT anymore. He said this is different than the NXT he knew. He was upset with the culture where everyone acted that they were like owed something, or, okay, you had this match, now it's my turn to have a big match. He said this ain't Monopoly. We don't just take turns here. You earn what you're given. Ciampa said everybody wants to blame somebody else for their misfortune, their shortcomings. That there's glass ceilings and brass rings and such, but he's never been handed anything. He says he's earned it. And for a time, NXT was Tommaso Ciampa. Said he wants to take that back. And it all begins with a 25-year-old prodigy who feels entitled in the Velveteen Dream. Like I said, Ciampa called Dream a prodigy. Ciampa then went on to call him a dead man. And we do learn that next week, Ciampa will be taking on Velveteen Dream one-on-one. Also, Ember Moon will be taking on Dakota Kai. Then time for the main event. I loved this match. I think this was probably my favorite thing on either show for the whole night. So it's Candice LeRae versus Io Shirai with the NXT Women's Championship on the line. So they both come out. Io gets the big entrance with Poppy. He does the live theme or whatever. And Shotzi Blackheart spin the wheel, make the deal. And it lands on TLS. And I thought that meant tables, ladders, and stairs, but it didn't. It actually meant tables, ladders, and scares. The referee gets the woman's title and hangs it above the ring, and we get a ladder match. LeRae, at the onset, attacks Shirai, and LeRae went to drag a table out from under the ring, but there was a bag on the table. She was curious on what was in the bag, and when she poured the bag out, there were Halloween limbs. There were body parts. Plastic rubber body parts. Basically, a bloody mannequin. Shirai then chased LeRae around ringside and actually hit her with one of the mannequin arms. As Shirai was chasing her, LeRae sent Shirai crashing into a ladder with a drop toe hold. Shirai reversed a whip to the post. They then fought on top of the announce desk, and LeRae hit Shirai with the laptop. LeRae set up a ladder bridge that didn't come into play till the very end of the match. Shirai delivered a running knee to sandwich LeRae into the ring steps. Shirai put several chairs in the ring. She created a pile of chairs, which is basically kind of like something Evil does. Evil, her boyfriend. So this is a callback to, actually, I think her fiance now. So I liked that. A callback to something Evil does a lot. So the show cut to commercial, and meanwhile, we see Shirai set up a table at ringside. Shirai was getting another table when LeRae cut her off. Shirai fought back, and she delivered a missile dropkick in the ring. Shirai went back outside and set up the second table. As the show returned from the commercial, they were fighting to climb up a ladder in the middle of the ring. LeRae propped a ladder in the corner, and Shirai dropped her with a palm strike, and then Shirai hit a backstabber that placed LeRae on the pile of chairs. Io then missed a moonsault and smashed just whole front of her body right onto the chairs. Oh, painful. Painful as all hell. Shirai then crashed into the ladder that was propped up in the corner as well. LeRae went to climb the turnbuckle, but Shirai tripped her, and LeRae fell over the top rope and was draped in the corner like a tree of woe spot. Shirai trapped LeRae's leg in a chair and used it in a dragon screw, because you got to think, if your feet are hurt too bad, you can't climb the ladder, you can't win the match. LeRae sold this big time and clutched her leg. LeRae at one point then hit Shirai in the back with a chair. LeRae then hit Mr. Toad's Wild Ride off the apron and sent Shirai crashing through the two, and actually both of them went crashing through the two tables set up at ringside. All of a sudden, we see the mystery person that helped Johnny come out to help Candice. This person carried Candice up the ladder, tried to get her to retrieve the belt, but Shotzi Blackheart would run in to make the save. Shotzi would basically give this person an electric chair drop onto the pile of chairs. Blackheart then fell backwards. Oh, I already said that. LeRae was still on top of the ladder, and she finally kind of like got her wits about her and grabbed at the belt. Io. Now you got to remember, the belt is right here, but Candice is over here. So she's like reaching outwards. Well, Io comes in and puts the ladder right under the belt. She then pushes over of the ladder that Candice was on. And remember that ladder bridge Candice set up earlier? Candice crashed through it, falling from on top of this 10, 15-foot ladder outside of the ring and through this other ladder bridge. With Candice LeRae presumably dead, Io climbed the ladder. Io grabbed the title. Io is still the champion. Now, here's the thing. Fightful reported earlier that somebody that was scheduled to be on the show but not scheduled to actually work a match was pulled from the show. I predicted that it may have been Shotzi Blackheart before I had full details on what this was. And I have learned that there was actually supposed to be a female, I wasn't told who, but a female debuting at the end of the show. Io was supposed to win the title, and a female was supposed to come out on the top of the stage, or at the top of the ramp, presumably, and basically just not say a word, point at Io, and make her presence known that she wants to go for the belt. Somebody new, somebody not in WWE yet, a new signing. But because of all the COVID stuff, what I was told is they told this person, stay home, we'll figure out another time for you to come in and make your debut. So there is a new female that they feel is a top female coming into NXT and is going to get a title shot right off the bat. Who that is, I'm not 100% sure because I've heard a couple of names as far as the NXT women's division goes and who could be coming in. But that is who was pulled from the show. It was somebody that was supposed to debut within the last 2 minutes of tonight's show. When I predicted Shotzi, I was wrong. I'll admit that. I was wrong. It was somebody that they didn't bring in because of COVID. They weren't bringing somebody new or extra in. But with that, that was NXT. Let's see what you guys thought of the show. 83% of you said that you liked it. 17% said you didn't. And none of you said it was all right. So with that, I feel like more of you liked NXT than AEW Dynamite, and that's what I felt. I felt NXT was the better show tonight. I don't want to say by leaps and bounds, but a little bit. With that, if you guys want to be part of tonight's show, you can do so by texting in to 510-906-1341. First text message here does state, why do you think Damian Priest lost the North American Championship? And also, what do you think he's going to do next? Try to get the belt back? I honestly don't know. Because I was shocked that Johnny won and Candice didn't. I thought if either were going to win, they were both going to win. So I honestly don't have any idea why Johnny won the title tonight. This person says, when do you see them turning Omega heel? Full Gear. He's going to beat Paige. I can see it right now. He's going to beat Paige as the cleaner. Something's going to happen next week that's going to piss him off and trigger him, and then he's going to come out at Full Gear as the cleaner Kenny Omega. Or something's going to trigger him during that match, and then the next Dynamite he comes out as a cleaner. But I was going to say, in less than a month, we're getting full cleaner Kenny Omega. And this person here says, what do you see them doing with Candice LeRae now that she has lost twice for the NXT Women's Championship? I don't know. Just be another girl on the roster and eventually earn the shot again. I mean, it's just like they've done with her in the past. If they need somebody for a good match, you throw Candice in there. And this text says, If they decide to have Johnny win the NA title, why not pull the trigger and have Candice LeRae title run? Kind of basically they're saying it's dumb that one won the belt and not the other. Well, like I stated, there was never a plan for Candice to win because a new female was supposed to debut tonight and challenge Io. They wanted this female to have a match with Io. That was the plan. Not just challenge any champion, but challenge Io. And this person states, something tells me it was Tessa who was supposed to debut. I don't know. I honestly don't know. I've heard a couple of names as far as females that may be coming into NXT. She is one of the names I've heard, but I've also heard a couple others. As far as what I thought of tonight's shows, if I had to rate them, I would give NXT but Halloween Havoc an 8, and I would give AEW a 7. But with that, guys, I want to say thank you for joining me here tonight to talk about AEW Dynamite and Halloween Havoc. Remember, if you missed any of this show or any previous reviews we do here on Twitch, you can check those out at youtube.com/Pro Wrestling Unlimited. You can also follow us on social media, facebook.com/Pro Wrestling ULTD. Follow us on Instagram by searching for Pro Wrestling Unlimited, and follow us on Twitter at PWUnlimited. Remember, we will be live again on Friday for the Friday Night SmackDown review. And I'm going to say it right now. I'm doing a pre-Halloween thing with the kids on Friday. So I will be watching SmackDown live, but we may not be going live with the review right away. It may be like the show for me ends at 7 p.m. So I may be going live closer to 8:15-ish. Like an hour later than we normally would. Just a heads up. I'm going to try and go as early as possible, but it may be pushed. I will let you guys know on social media if that does happen for SmackDown on Friday. But with that, guys, thanks for joining me here tonight. Have a good one, and we'll see you for SmackDown.